What is going on, New York Giants fans? Welcome to another video from Hit Squad Productions. And in this video, we're itching towards free agency again. You know, I couldn't be more excited, man. I mean, it's just so exciting. You know, to me, sports are 24/7, 365. It's never ending. There's always something going on, even in the dead season. There's always something going on, and I love it. I love it. But, you know, with this video, we're going to talk about the free agent wide receiver market coming up. And there's a lot of names out there. You got, you know, your Curtis Samuels, your Corey Davises. You have the most notable, you know, Allen Robinsons, Kenny Galladays, you know, Sammy Watkins. There's so many wide receivers that are potentially going to be hitting the free agent market in a time where this wide receiver class, in terms of the 2021 NFL draft, is very deep. So, you know, to me, it's like, as much as I love Curtis Samuel, as much as I like Corey Davis, you know, you could get either of those, you know, in the draft. But if I'm the New York Giants and I'm looking at this free agent class coming up, I got to look at a wide receiver that really fits this Jason Garrett scheme. And that has to be Kenny Golladay. And if you guys remember, the Giants inquired about Kenny Golladay before the trade deadline. You know, that was leaked out that the Giants were looking at potential trade situations and nothing came to fruition. But still, Kenny Golladay, 6'4", 217 pounds, out of Northern Illinois. He was a third-round selection with the Detroit Lions back in 2017. He, I believe, just turned 27. He would be, in my honest opinion, the best wide receiver that the New York Giants can go out there and get that would instantly be the perfect fit in this Jason Garrett scheme. Now, I'm not going to be mad if the Giants go get themselves an Allen Robinson, or if they don't get a Kenny Golladay and they pick up, let's say, a Curtis Samuel, and then they go get a, you know, Jalen Waddle or something like that in the draft. I'm not going to have any issues with that. But I really like Kenny Golladay. You know, I know the concern with Kenny Golladay. You know, he had that hip injury in 2020. Really wasn't himself. You know, he had 20 receptions, 338 yards, 2 touchdowns. He averaged 16.9 yards per reception. Even still then, he was still a beast for what it, you know, for what the season was. But you look at his overall career, and it's impressive. It is impressive. You know, he's a 2-time Pro Bowl wide receiver. 2017, he had 28 receptions for 477 yards, 3 touchdowns. 2018, he had 70 receptions for 1,063 yards and 5 touchdowns. Then he had his breakout year in 2019 where he had 65 receptions, 1,190 yards, and 11 touchdowns. So he can absolutely be a double-digit scoring wide receiver. He would instantly be our number 1 wide receiver on this team. And when you look at Kenny Golladay, you got to think that Jason Garrett would use him in the same way that he used Dez Bryant, right? I mean, he fits the mold, about the same height. I actually think Kenny Golladay is a little taller than Dez Bryant. But Kenny Golladay, look, when you look at the Detroit Lions haven't done anything for their players in God knows how long. You could make an argument for the history of their franchise. They've never done anything right by their players. And even with that, Kenny Golladay has still balled out in Detroit with Matthew Stafford. And he's gotten the nickname Baby Megatron. And when you go watch the film, it's hard to disagree with that name, right? And Kenny Golladay, you know, he's going to be that guy that's going to go get you that 50-50 ball. He doesn't have, you know, the best speed, the best separation, but he still finds ways to get open. You know, the things this man does with his body, the way that he can jump in the air and turn his body backwards and catch the ball, the way that he can really cut on a route and just create the separation, even if it's just a little bit of separation. You know, he has the height to his advantage. He has some strong hands, and that really shows on the field. Now, you guys remember as well as I do that when we played the Detroit Lions back in 2019, Kenny Golladay went off on us. He had 6 receptions for 123 yards, 2 touchdowns. He averaged 20.5 yards per reception that game. He destroyed us in that game and made DeAndre Baker look like an undrafted, you know, cornerback, in my opinion. Yeah, look, I don't even got to say nothing. I mean, you guys remember this pain as much as I remember this pain. So, you know, I really do think that the Giants should actually go get Kenny Golladay. And if they were to go draft a wide receiver as well, this offense could be scary good. scary good. Even if we don't get a wide receiver in the draft, adding a player like Kenny Golladay, that requires a player that gets double attention. So what does that mean? That's going to help players like Darius Slayton get open. That's going to help players like Sterling Shepard get open. Evan Ingram. That's going to help Saquon Barkley and the run game. You know, you want to double team Kenny Golladay? That's fine. Then you're going to have to take one player out of the box, which is only going to help Saquon. You're going to have to take one player off of Evan Ingram, and he's already a mismatch nightmare for linebackers. So when you look at it, it would only make sense to bring in a guy like Kenny Golladay. Now, what kind of contract is he going to demand? Now, when I look at this free agency class, you have Allen Robinson, who rightfully deserves $20 million a year. Kenny Golladay, you're hearing that he may want the same, but with how the cap is going to be, we don't know what's going to happen. You know, the Giants were reportedly going to be at 175 in terms of the cap space, and now we're hearing 195 million potentially. So we don't know what's going to happen, but if you can get Kenny Golladay on a 3-year deal, I really think you do that. I really think you take the call, you call his agent, and you bring Kenny Golladay in because he's going to be an immediate impact player for Daniel Jones. I think when you look at players like Amari Cooper, who, the Dallas Cowboys trade their first-round pick, Dak Prescott was still solid in, Dallas before Amari, but he took a big step when Amari Cooper came in. So who's to say that the Giants can't do the same with a player like Kenny Golladay? Kenny Golladay is easily the best wide receiver we have on this roster if we bring him in. Easily. It's not even up for debate. Darius Slayton isn't touching him. Sterling Shepard isn't touching him. He is in a class of his own on this team. Now, I am worried about the hip injury. He's always dealt with little minor injuries here and there, but the hip injury that he dealt with last year really set him back, and honestly, he missed most of the season due to it. So how is he going to be coming off of a full off season of rehab and preparation? We just got to see how that plays out. But Kenny Golladay, to me, I think he'd be the perfect fit for this offense. I think he'd be a great target and a great weapon for Daniel Jones. And honestly, it makes sense. When you look at the wide receivers coming up, you really have to ask yourself, what players really fit this Jason Garrett scheme? If you're not sure, go look at the wide receivers that Jason Garrett used back in Dallas. These are players that are usually, taller, 6'2", sometimes 6'3". He likes big body wide receivers, big possession wide receivers. And that's exactly what you're getting with Kenny Golladay and then some. But let me know your thoughts below. What do you guys feel about Kenny Golladay? What do you like about him? What do you dislike about him? And do you think that he's a fit with the New York Giants? If not, let us know. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. Leave a like below. Follow us on Twitter. The link will be in the description.